Welcome to the Super Breakdown Podcast, where cosmic tales unfold. Join Power Maximus, Lord Triage, and the Darth Legacy Jason M40 on a journey through heroic realms, where legends are born and destinies entwine. Delve into the cosmic currents, unraveling the mysteries of superheroes, villains, and champions. Embrace the cosmic energy that binds us all, and let your journey begin. This is the Super Breakdown Podcast. Enter the cosmic saga. Welcome to the Super Breakdown Podcast, where cosmic tales unfold. Join Power Maximus, Lord Triage, and the Darth Legacy Jason M40 on a journey through heroic realms, where legends are born and destinies entwine. Delve into the cosmic currents, unraveling the mysteries of superheroes, villains, and champions. Embrace the cosmic energy that binds us all, and let your journey begin. This is the Super Breakdown Podcast. Enter the cosmic saga.
We're back. We're back again. What is up, y'all? I'm Power Maximus. We're here with everyone's favorite demigod, Lord Triage, and the Darth Legacy himself, Jason M40. You are listening to the Super Breakdown. Welcome back for another amazing week, another amazing episode. This is going to be a good one. It's going to be a fun one because we are, all three of us are dysfunctional in so many different types of ways. So this episode's going to be real fun. Really fun. He said, "Girl, I must warn you, I sense something strange in my mind." Oh man, she'll drive you right out of your mind. She steal your heart. Oh man, that
Not
girl
the
is
only thing she'll steal.
poison. Oh. Oh man, if you haven't been paying attention to us for the past few days, for the past few weeks, we are going we're going over and diving into Poison Ivy, Miss Pamela Isley. You know, this was going to be a solely Triage episode and have him be the one that is filling us in on who Miss Poison Ivy is, but I think it's gonna be a well-rounded episode. Am I right, Triage?
Oh, you seem like you're having a lot of fun so far.
My best is Vincent Price fucking impression. Oh man,
you showed your age with that one.
What was that? Oh,
said,
god damn. Damn. Ah, man. Poison Ivy, Miss Pamela Isley. So before I even ask, before I even dive into this character, because I really want to dive into this character. Like what were all right, so Triage, what was your first I'd say your first introduction to the character Poison Ivy?
Oh, that would be Batman the Animated Series. The episode was pretty poison.
Ooh, yes.
We first see her as the love interest of the of the DA Harvey Dent, and how Harvey winds up to be revealed to be poisoned, and it was Ivy who was behind it.
Ah. And I'm pretty sure it was because he was doing something like one of the ventures that he was backing as DA or something like that was like because Ivy she's what's called an eco terrorist.
Yes.
that would make sense. He was one of his ventures was doing something that was gonna they have to like tear up a certain amount of land or something like that, and yeah, she wasn't having it. What about oh, my bad. Go ahead.
If memory serves me correctly, I believe it was the building of Blackgate Prison, and it was
Mm,
like he built it in a place where a very specific bud of rose grew, and by him building it in that location, he basically wiped out the species. Ivy herself actually managed to save some of them, but she didn't even manage to save all of them.
mm, mm. What was Jay, what was your first introduction to this character?
Actually, that would be the same as Triage there
Mm.
in the animated series.
So for me, it was it's kind of it pains me to say it, but my first introduction to the character was in her live action rendition. Her live action rendition. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, I know,
Yeah.
I know. What was that? Batman Forever, or no,
Bat-
Batman and Robin.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
yeah.
1994 Batman and Robin. We got George Clooney, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Chris O'Donnell. What was it? Alicia Silverstone played Batwoman or Batgirl, and then of course the lovely and great Miss Uma Thurman played Poison Ivy, Miss Pamela Isley. We'll dive into that because I also want to talk. I really do want to talk about like the way Uma Thurman's Poison Ivy is portrayed as compared to where we see her in other other forms of media.
Oh, this is going to be particularly colorful. Go, let's go.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, all right.
Poor Dick Grayson. Poor Dick Grayson.
Hey, listen, he when he becomes a Nightwing, he gets a piece of Harley, so he misses out on one crazy and gets another crazy.
Well, that's actually a very interesting statement, and it's something I will circle back to shortly. But Uma Thurman's portrayal of the character in Batman and Robin actually is very close to her comic book origin, where she is a botanist working for a mad scientist who actually experiments on her and turns her into the Poison Ivy that we know.
Okay.
Now, it's said that her skin is filled with chlorophyll. Her blood is revealed to be now toxic, and it also makes her immune to almost all poisons and toxins of the world.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that her lips are filled with venom. And it's like, I like that whole thing. If she kissed you, she poisoned you. But I've never actually seen that in any other media besides that.
Yeah.
Yes, I've never seen that as like another like ability anywhere else.
The one ability that I have seen with her kissing is that like with the mind control. That she is able to secrete like pheromones that she can pretty much be used as like mind control. I have seen that quite a few times. Even in the I always forget the year, but the Batman, the Warner Brothers, the Batman, WB, I'm sorry, the Batman, that happened in that one. That was a later season. We see that was when we were first introduced to Barbara Gordon in the series. That actually, I think that's the first episode that we run into Barbara Gordon. That's like her kind of, yeah, because that was like the first episode of that season, and they didn't give like that episode was like we see Batgirl, and then we're like, what the hell? Where does she come from? What is she doing in this? We coming from the last season, like there was no lead up to this whatsoever. Unlike with Robin, with Dick Grayson in that series, we actually see his origins. With her, we did it until we got to that episode, and it kind of backtracks what led her up to that moment. Because her and Ivy were friends in that rendition of the character.
Yes.
Yes, I remember that.
I also want to talk about Gotham's version of Ivy as well.
Oh boy, here we go.
Hey, listen, we doing it. We diving in. We diving in. You know, I mean, we gotta look at all forms of media because we got all her live actions from Gotham. Then we have two incarnations. Let's see which ones was it? There were we got Pamela Isley, but then we also got Mary Hamilton as well, Poison Ivy 2 or Poison Mary. That we see in Batwoman. Sorry, we all know how I feel about the Batwoman show. How I'm pretty sure we all share that same feeling about the Batwoman show. It was poorly written, poorly written, and I'm just upset because it could have went somewhere, but Ruby Rose dropped out. I was very upsetting. But then we also have her animated, the animations as well from, the Batman animated series, Brave and the Bold to Super Best Friends Forever short and stuff like that, to the shit that Robot Chicken was doing with their DC Comics specials 1 and 2. Then
oh my gosh, yeah, I remember those too.
DC Super Friends, we got DC Superhero Girls, we got the Justice Leagues, the Harley Quinn, the Harley Quinn show on HBO Max that we got. I believe she's in Kite Man, Hell Yeah, as well, also on there as well. We see her in Bat Wheels on Netflix. So, not to mention the countless movies that she's into throughout, the DC's animated universe. New Batman Ventures. We see her for real quick, and we see her in Static Shock as well. But there's oh, she was in Birds of Prey as well. No. They wanted her to be in Birds of Prey in the sequel for Birds of Prey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who would you have play her?
Who would I have play her?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Ooh, Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke's daughter.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Because honestly, she's an amazing actor. She plays a major role in Stranger Things. And I thoroughly enjoy her acting. So I think it'll be kind of really cool, kind of like full circle. Her mom was Poison Ivy, and then like she literally is the daughter of two amazing legendary actors. So what is her name? I forget her name.
My pick hands down to Alyssa Milano.
Ooh,
Alyssa Milano. Not bad at all. Maya, that's her name. Maya Ray Thurman Hawke.
It'd be interesting to see Scarlett Johansson as a Poison Ivy too.
Yes, it would. It most definitely would.
She'd be jumping brands. I'm just saying.
But honestly, they ain't gonna treat her any better than fucking did Marvel treated her.
And to see her with Margot Robbie might be something really special.
Kat Dennings.
Kat Dennings.
Mm-hmm.
That would be interesting as well.
Mm-hmm. See, the only thing about that is like Kat Dennings has never had like at least a lot of characters that she's played. She never had Kat Dennings is more her acting. She leans towards more comedic acting.
Yes.
You know what I mean? We've never seen her in a very like sexualized or seductive kind of role,
or like a very serious.
Yeah, in a very kind of serious role. because that's supposed to be the whole thing between her and Harley. Harley kind of supposed to be that serious, while on the other hand, I'm sorry, Harley's supposed to be the comedy and Ivy's supposed to be the serious. That's why honestly, that's why I feel like they work so well together. They balance each other out so well. So I feel like that's awesome. Interesting thing. So I actually just recently watched a video on this on a it was a little excerpt from the animated series. One of the creator of Harley for the animated series. He had you know how Harley's able to get like thrown around, beat up, blown up, this and that. She's really fast, strong. She can jump from high buildings and land on the ground with no problem and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that is because during their first meeting, when Harley, she had gotten really, really hurt, and Ivy, when like they first kind of like come together, Ivy gives her a shot to heal her. But that the creator actually states that shot not only did it heal her, but it also enhanced her as well.
Yes, that is correct, because there are two different versions of that which are more accurate. So the animated version was in the Harley Ivy episode where they actually do get to see them team up, is that Joker basically washed his hands with Harley, sent her on her way. So she's like, oh, fuck this, I'm gonna make it on my own. And in the process of her trying to rob a jewelry place, Poison Ivy set off the alarm because she was stealing something like three doors down, and they ran into each other.
Yeah. Yep.
And they wind up working together. So when Ivy took Harley back to her hideout, it's revealed that the land that she was on was highly toxic. So she was like, yo, normal people can't come on the land. So that's why she's there. And she was like, if you're going to be here, I need to give you this. Otherwise, the toxins will kill you in hours.
Yep. And then, go ahead.
Now, in the comic, the Joker had strapped Harley to a missile and tried to shoot her to the moon.
Jesus.
Yes, I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
He had tired of her, and it was like, once again, try to wash his hands with her. Because this is the one thing that is very interesting about the Harley Quinn Joker dynamic, is that it's not a Bonnie and Clyde relationship. It's not the Belle to a Beast. It's the fact that
it's abusive. It's dark. It's, a lot of people really forget that shit.
Yeah, it's very Stockholm syndrome. It really is.
Major Stockholm.
It is.
And it's like, and the wild part is like, Ivy finds her because the rocket lands, I want to say like just outside Central Park. Like part of the park was condemned after an earthquake. So that's where Ivy was hiding. Ivy takes Harley back there, and then she gives her that shot, and that shot will save her life.
Mm-hmm.
But like as you said, as a result, it enhanced her physical features. And this is also what leads to this is what leads to Ivy's immense disdain for the Joker.
Yep. Because one thing about Ivy is that, clearly we know that she's killed people, right? But it's not just plant life that she covets. She covets all life in general. But if one life starts to, take life from, something else, she doesn't give a damn about that one life, and that one life has to go. She covets. That's the way at least I've seen it. You know what I mean? It's like, hold on, you want to kill these people or this person? You want to take life from this world? No, we not having that. Thus, meaning you're a problem. You're a problem here. So,
well, I always took it that Ivy doesn't necessarily see herself as a human being. She sees herself as like almost a plant hybrid, or more. She sees herself as more plant than human. So it's more.
Yeah.
It's not you're destroying the planet. It's more us against them type shit with her. And it's like, as far as she's concerned, mankind with our carbon footprint, with the steel towers and all these other things that we've done, we basically, as far as she's concerned, we're raping the planet. And she's just over it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Poison Ivy, she was created by Robert, what was it, Kiner, Robert Kiner and Carmine and Fantio. And if I remember correctly, she appeared in the comic. Her first appearance in the comics was Batman number 181.
Correct. In the
And
60s.
yeah, in the 60s. Yep. And so that first off in his 60s as well, to make a character who is I'll say an activist, because she starts out as an activist, and then she takes that, and then like Joker says that one bad day her activism takes that turn into eco-terrorism. Because before she was at, people will call them tree huggers, but now we see, hey, listen, without trees, there would be no us. We need that oxygen to breathe and survive and live. So they call them tree huggers, but God damn it, they got a point. But so Infantino discussed how the character was created. He said the only reason she came about was because of Catwoman on the Batman show, and they wanted more female villains. What was the only 1 sec, sorry. Ooh, excuse me. Ooh, pardon me, sorry. He says, what was the other one I did? He had did the Silver Fox. So he's like, and then Batgirl, and then he's like that show, and then because of that show, they were selling 1 million copies a month. But that show, when it died, so did the comic books. So they decided to create another, female character. So Poison Ivy's origins ends up being depicted by Neil Gaiman's short story, Pavane. And that was like Secret Origins, number 36 in the 80s. During which she declares herself to be nature's daughter and the world's righteous ruler. It was later revealed that her powers were gifted to her by the environmental force known as the Green, which we see the Green off and on throughout. Actually, the Green is a big staple within the DC world, because there's another character who also covets and is the protector of the Green as well, which they tried to do a show for him as well. Swamp Thing,
yeah.
Yep. Which I wish that show really would have gotten off the ground, but apparently somebody fucked up paperwork, and the show, they had already filmed the first season, and because they fucked up paperwork, what was it? I think it was Florida. They were filming in Florida, and then Florida was like, "Yeah, cut it, dead it, it's over." Yep. So that really sucks. So I would have liked to see more of the idea of the Green in there. Now she's gone by multiple different names over time. Clearly, her normal name, Dr. Pamela Isley, that we all know and love normally. Then we got Lillian Rose, Dr. Paula Irving, Penelope Ivy, Poison Ice, Dr. Green, Green Ivy. She has a doctorate in botany. She's able to manipulate plants and toxins. She doesn't need to eat, drink, or anything. She's self-sustained. And she also has the power of seduction. That is crazy. That is crazy.
I imagine all she needs is some sunlight and a little water.
Yep. Yep. Sunlight and a little bit of water. But for me, I really enjoy Ivy's character, because it's also like she's one of those Batman characters that it's like you can't hate, because they have like one of those characters that it's like she's kind of like Killmonger to me. You can't be mad at what she's doing, because it comes from a very righteous and a very just kind of place.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Listen, man, any cause can be justified or be righteous if the person believes in it strong enough.
That's also true.
That's true. But when their cause is also for like a bigger picture, it's not like just for themselves. You know what I mean? They're like what they're doing is something that in actual facts could in turn benefit the larger populace. So like Killmonger, he wasn't, Eric Killmonger, he wasn't just doing what he was doing for himself. He wanted to take over Wakanda, to use Wakanda's powers and abilities, and to, kind of right a wrong that had been done to, the black people of the world. It's like an overarching thing. Ivy, if she hadn't taken that eco-terrorist kind of route, and then like, you know what, on some Ultron shit, humans are the problem. Some Skynet shit, humans are the problem, kind of thing. I feel like, yeah, she has a good point. We need to protect the plants. We need to protect the earth, the Mother Earth and the green, because like this is where we live. It's kind of like this. It's the same aspect. Like you don't shit where you sleep, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? This is where you sleep. This is where you live. This is supposed to be kind of like your sanctuary. This is your health. Don't defecate. Don't keep a dirty room. Don't keep a dirty house, because that's where you live, and it's for your health. That's the way I see it. I don't know about anybody else. So I mean that's just why I personally have always loved Poison Ivy's character, because it's like, damn, she got a point and she fine. She got a point and she fine.
Also, honestly, I mean, at least in the DC multiverse universe, I don't think that we see any other, even not in DC, but any other character that has the abilities like Poison Ivy does, or at least is a human but half plant, like plants and nature derivative from her power.
Right? That's a good point. I mean, because Marvel and DC, they have characters that are knockoffs of each other. Does Marvel have their version of like a plant-based character like that?
I can't think of one.
Because they have their own version of, they have their own kind of version of a Swamp Thing, right?
Oh, who's that guy?
Trust. Why am I blanking on this character?
It's like a DC, it's like a Marvel has a DC. Excuse me, Marvel has a version of the DC character Swamp Thing.
Yeah, he's plant-based. Man-Thing.
Oh yes.
Man-Thing. He's a swamp monster / human hybrid, who partners a lot with Mr. Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck.
Howard Dan Duck. Now let me see.
I mean, there's Groot, but Groot is a tree, but he's not like.
He's like,
he's not human. He's not.
Yeah,
human.
there's no part of him that's human. I mean, only other thing is like probably a mutant.
Oh yes, I guess a mutant could.
I mean, they're Plant Man maybe, but like somebody that's on like on a level like that literally is like half. I mean, there's Claire Pratt's from Runaways. Then there's also Nature Girl from she's an X-Men or a mutant. They both they control plants.
Okay.
I know Black Tom Cassidy, he can manipulate wood.
Yeah.
But there's no real. I think off the top of my head, I can think of it like Marvel equivalent to her.
Let me see. Marvel just debuted its own version of Poison Ivy. I'm just doing some research right now to see for introducing reveals the origin of Jessa Chen, also known as Dr. What the hell? How do you say that? Gelsemium? Gelsemium? What the hell? Yeah, no, I have no. Yeah, no, they don't. So that's pretty interesting. I'm glad that's one character that pretty much that they have kept really original. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So now like, and again, like when I say Ivy is such a very big pinnacle within Batman's roles gallery. Like we see her pre-crisis, post-crisis. We see her in multiple other storylines and in connectivity. We see her with the new 52, Cycle of Life and Death. Within even the DC when they did the whole DC Rebirth shit. She was still there, still within there. She crossed over multiple Harley comics, and like the list goes on. So she is such a pinnacle character within the DC universe. And like, come on, even in the games, she's literally damn near in every Batman game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like she's all throughout the Arkham series, all throughout the entire Arkham series. Apparently they're doing another Arkham game. For what I've heard. So I'm pretty interested to see what they do with that. Now, we did a quick breakdown of her powers. Now, when it comes to like team affiliation, she has been a part of damn near everything. The Injustice League, the Legion of Doom, Injustice Gang. She's been a part of Suicide Squad, Secret Society of Supervillains, Gotham City Sirens. She's been a part of the Birds of Prey. And let's see. Now, my biggest question is, what is your guys' favorite incarnation of Ivy?
Oh man.
Whether it be comics or live action or animation.
You know what? For me, I think that my favorite portrayal of her was when in actually Arkham Knight, the Arkham Knight game.
Okay.
I gotta say Batman the Animated Series.
OG copy. For me, I'd say my favorite. I think, it would be. For me, it's actually it's a tie between the two. I would say definitely the Arkham games, because I feel like in the Arkham games, like they portray her as like such a force, such a damn force to be reckoned with. Like to the point, like her entire her ecosystem like literally is like sprawls throughout the Gotham underground, and she controls the entire what is it called when it's a museum but for flowers?
The botanical garden.
Botanical garden. Yeah, she rules the whole botanical garden, but it also like takes over the entire underground of Gotham.
Yes.
But one portrayal I did find interesting. I did find her Gotham portrayal pretty interesting. I believe she goes by like her name. She's not like Pamela Isley. She's Ivy Pepper. Yeah, it's like Ivy Pepper. She's like a street kid who taught herself to use plants and herbs to create like mind altering chemicals. Her father Mario was framed for the deaths of Thomas and Martha Wayne, and I believe she was like we see her throughout the show, at least in the beginning of the show, because we get a lot of Selena Kyle, and that like it was a really big dynamic between Bruce Wayne and Selena Kyle as kids, and going back and forth because Selena had actually witnessed the shooting of Thomas and Martha Wayne. So Selena, like a lot of the underground, wanted to take Selena out because like she saw who killed them. But it's like during like I think like the third season of Gotham, with she has an encounter with Fish Mooney's enforcer Marv, and causes Ivy to physically age into like her 20s, which I was like, yeah, she goes like from a little kid, and then like she falls into some chemicals or whatever, and it's like it makes you think that she's dead, but clearly we all know it's like, all right, yeah, no, she's we know who she's destined to become. And then in the fourth season, like the next, I think like that was like that happens like towards like the middle of season 3, and then we don't see her for the rest of season 3, and then we end up seeing her because Selena thinks she's actually dead, and she goes on like a whole like kind of like revenge trip. And then in like season 4, she gains gains a new appearance. Oh no, we end up seeing her later in season 3, and that's when she's older, and nobody kind of like knows who she is. And then she ends up gaining a new appearance where she gets like the poison nails. After stealing a mystical chemicals from an apothecary shop. So I find it interesting because it's such a stretch off from the original character.
Yeah.
And I feel like they took the long way around in order to have her become who she's destined to be within Batman.
Well, I think it's also one of those many things where they were throwing shit against the wall to see what was going to stick. It's one of those things where, well, one of the things with Batman is that you can do Batman till you're blue in the face because of how good Batman's villains are. But it's like, I think making Poison Ivy so young limited her skill set so much where it's more like, oh yeah, sure, we get that's Poison Ivy. That's cute. That's fun. Like, everyone gets it. But it's like there's no real threat from Ivy Pepper. Now, when you saw Ivy, who was a little bit older, like you were like, all right, maybe I see her start to become a little bit of who she's supposed to be. Like, look at Selena when she was Cat, running around with the goggles on her head, and she was a street kid, and it's like, all right, then she meets Tabitha, and then Tabitha changes her worldview a little bit, tells her certain things, like, you're cute, you're like, you're strong, like, your appearance can be a weapon just as much as your hands can be. And it's like, once you see Selena start to adapt some of that stuff into like her repertoire, you're like, oh, all right, I see her becoming who I know she's going to be. So I think them making Ivy the same age as Bruce, speaking, yeah, it makes sense. But it's like, there's no real threat from that character because she's so young.
That's very true. Now, for me, I feel like they could have gone all of Gotham without us seeing Ivy. You know what I mean? There's certain characters that we could have been like with Cat, that's completely fine. Like Selena Kyle, then being young, growing up, and then, she takes this route, he takes that route. And then later on, as they're adults, they bump into each other. Oh shit! Hey, whatever. That also makes sense. I feel like with Ivy, that could have been something that they could have left it off as she falls into those chemicals or whatever as a kid or whatever, and she's there, and now everyone thinks she's dead. But also, she's a street kid, so no one cares. Her father's in prison. He was framed for, the killing of Thomas and Martha Wayne. So she's a street kid. She's essentially an orphan. So nobody cares that she's gone. Only people that know that she's gone is Selena.
Mm.
And then she could reemerge years later as an adult with all with her standard power set and ability set. And that's where we see her run into Batman. Now, Bruce Wayne, someone, like I said, all three of them grow up together. Bruce Wayne's Batman, Selena Kyle's Catwoman, and now Poison Ivy pops back up. They're like, oh, shit, Ivy? Whoa, what? I thought you was dead. Blah, 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 blah. So I feel like the way they did that, and there was other characters that could, already established, like, Mr. Freeze gets established, Riddler gets established, Penguin is established. It makes sense because all these characters within Batman lore are older than Bruce Wayne.
Not all, but
not all, but
I would say they were around his age. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, like Penguin is definitely older.
Well, hey, Max Shrek said it himself. If his parents hadn't 86 them, they could have been boys at prep school.
That is very true. That is very true. I don't know. I just feel like when it came to Ivy in Gotham, they could have let that rock out a little bit more instead of doing the age jump like that. As I just felt like, because now you got a young child Bruce Wayne going against an adult Poison Ivy. You know what I mean? Granted, she still kind of had the mentality of a kid because she's
no more experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
But again, it's something that I definitely enjoyed because it was such a like a veering off from the character, from the initial character that we all know. And I always find those interesting. Like only when it's like once or twice. But now once we start seeing the characters get like, they start going off the rails with the character every damn time they decide that they want to bring the character into whatever iteration that they're doing. That's when I'm like, all right, no, go back to the source material. Go back to the source material. Because like a little experimentation is fine because sometimes, with that experimentation, you end up making that character better. You end up finding little things to add on to that character's lore that actually ends up making her better than her original lore or their original lore. But once you start playing around and shit and like completely changing the origin, completely changing their lore and shit to fit whatever context you're trying to make, that's when I fall off. That's when I have to take a step back. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, I get that. I mean, Ivy's original, you could say story background is plants, and she was contaminated and her body merged, and seeing something different, a different take on that is interesting.
I'm trying to remember the way they did it for the Batman. I'm trying to remember the way they did her origins for the Batman, and it's throwing me off. I can't remember. Let me see. Yeah, 2004, the Batman.
I want to say it was rather comic accurate, but I think that she was in the process of doing something like a protest or something, and then like that's resulted in her getting her abilities. But she was more. I know what I want to say. She was more plant kinetic.
Yes, plant. That's a good way to describe it.
I'm trying to think of what that would be. Biokinetic, I think it would be. Like no. Chlorokinetic, I don't know. But yeah, so she was like, she was actually dosed with a mutagen because so she was protesting if I remember correctly, she was protesting a company who was like polluting something and making plants like it like they were like experimenting on plants and shit, and she went to destroy the facility. She had actually like planted bombs in the facility, and within doing that, Barbara ended up talking her out of it because, like I said, they were friends. They grew up together, went to school together. She was like, "Hey, listen, don't do this, blah, 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 blah." And she ends up just like, you know what, you're right. This is not what I stand for, because if I blow, because there was still like people in the building. And she's like, you're an activist. You're not a terrorist. If you do this, if you blow this, everyone in this building is going to die. Yeah. That's not you. You're not this person. And she's like, you know what, you're right. Let me stop this, but it was too late. And so she ends up getting trapped in the building, and as everything's exploding, the mutagen that they had been working on, I think it was like called chlorogene or something like that. She ends up getting dosed with that as Batman is trying to save her or whatever, and she doesn't die. She doesn't like do that whole I guess she's dead or whatever. No, he actually saves her, gets her out of there, and he's telling this is like later on, now the cops are actually working with Batman and shit like that. And she's getting wheeled away in the ambulance and shit. But as the ambulance is taking her to the hospital, her powers kick in and she ends up, the plants end up saving her.
Yes.
And they were just so happened to be right next to the Gotham Botanical Gardens. And they end up dragging her body into the Botanical Gardens, and it wraps her in that rose that we always see her in, and it heals her. And then that's when we end up seeing, their version of, Miss Pamela Isley, Poison Ivy.
And then she becomes a walking bioweapon.
Yeah, pretty much. I never really watched Brave and the Bold. I heard it was good, but I don't know. I felt like it was
good. Is not the best.
Yeah, because it wasn't geared towards adults, right?
They made Batman very cookie cutter, very monologue-y. That was definitely about selling toys.
Yeah, because Kevin Conroy didn't voice him in that. That was the dude from the Drew Carey show.
Yeah, it was not the late great Mr. Conroy. It was not.
Yeah, well, it wasn't Mr. Conroy. Well, I always find I find that I really enjoyed that incarnation of her. So I would put that up there with my favorite as well. Now, when it comes to Ivy, like, matter of fact, hold on. Before we get into that, let's take a quick break. Let's hear from some of our amazing friends doing some amazing things within the Blurred in the podcast universe. Midnight Comics, Miss Lady Mandalore with Room Full of Blurs, and Icarus podcast as well. Let's take a look at Heartline Comics, the Barcode Collection.
Going on, everybody? Lloyd Jones with Midnight Comics here, and we'd like to introduce you guys to our show, The Indie Breakdown, a show where we break down your favorite indie comic book characters' power, stats, and abilities, and get them ready for an eventual indie versus matchup. All Indie Breakdown episodes go live first on Spotify and on Patreon, with them eventually showing up on YouTube. So if you guys want to check out The Indie Breakdown and learn more from your favorite indie comic book creators, now's the time to do so. We hope you guys decide to tune in, and remember, until next time, midnight is coming.
Hi, I go by Lady Mandalore, the creator of Room Full of Blurs. Do you have a whiteboard in your room? Do people get a glazed over look in their eye when you start to explain things to them? Well, come join me every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we can talk comics and get to know some new creators of color, only on YouTube and Twitch.
What's going on, everybody? It's me, Calvin, from the Icarus podcast, and I just want to say that we got new episodes coming next Saturday and every Saturday after that. So all I would have to say from here is keep enjoying the show. You can check us out. www.icarusmetrocomics.com. Check us out on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and more. See y'all next time.
Join the Pulse. We're excited to announce the launch of Heartline Comics' newest line, the Barcode Collection. Our fresh drop just hit the internet and is turning heads. Imagine this. You're rocking our merch, and friends can scan the barcodes to instantly connect with the Heartline Comics website. It's a game changer. Stay ahead of the curve and never miss a beat. Subscribe to our website for exclusive alerts on the latest merch drops and the newest comics hitting the shelves. Be part of the Heartline community and show off your style with pride. Trust us, you don't want to miss this.
Hey, Shiro! Looks like we have the same shirt. Where'd you get yours?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Haruto here told me about this awesome podcast, so I checked them out and they had merch on the site.
Oh my god! Was it the Super Breakdown podcast? I love those guys. I thought I was the only one who knew about their new merch line.
Nope. I follow them too. So I told Shiro here about them. These new shirts and hoodies feel great. I can't wait for the official launch to see what other designs they have in store.
Oh, hey guys. Oh, so you found out about TSP podcast too? And you all got the shirts? Well, I got the hoodie. I kind of love this thing. It's so warm. It lets a slight breeze through, so I don't get too hot with the spring weather, but not too cold at the same time.
Oh my god, Emmy! You look so cute and comfy in that. I'm gonna get me one just like it, so we can be twins! Hey everyone watching! If you want to get yourself one of these amazing t-shirts or hoodies, check out the Super Breakdown podcast every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on all of your favorite streaming platforms, like YouTube, Twitch, Kick, and Facebook. Then head over to thesuperbreakdown.com and check out their merch shop on April 1st at 12 p.m. for the official launch of their Fuck Prep Time line. And don't forget to follow them on Instagram, okay? See you there!
All right, we are back. Now, our Fuck Prep Timeline is out now. Go check our page out, thesuperbreakdown.com, TSB merch. We have tons of options there, tons of shirt options, designs that we made ourselves, bunch of insiders from the show, bunch of our personal thoughts and feelings are on these shirts. I recommend checking out our Winnie the Pooh merch. Our Winnie the Pooh merch is pretty damn awesome. It's pretty hilarious. If I do say so myself, go check out our 2% merch. If you are a fan of The Mandalorian, fan of Bo-Katan, Kryze, you know what I'm talking about when I say that 2%. Check out our 2%. Indijaka's Army, Fuck Prep Time merch. It's all up there, all for you. Go check it out, thesuperbreakdown.com. Man, so Poison Ivy. Now, Jay, we're gonna go with you. Triage had to step away for a moment. But let's talk about where would we like to see Ivy go within this new James Gunn world, because I recently watched an interview that Gunn did, and he said that they were talking about Peacemaker, specifically Peacemaker, and they're like, yeah, everything in Peacemaker is canon, and
that's interesting.
Except for the ending of Peacemaker when the Justice League shows up. He said he's going to change that, but he said unless it is. And everything that's mentioned within Creature Commandos. So Creature Commandos talks about it, says something about it, mentions anything in Creature Commandos, it is canon. So within Gunn's new universe that he's building, the Gunverse, I'm gonna call it. What would you like to see? What would you like to see them do with Ivy?
That is a great question. Honestly, it would be really interesting, because I don't really think that we have seen it or seen her, Ivy, portrayed really this way. If because these other movies and projects have this very dark noir like feeling to them, I think that if they portrayed Ivy as more of like this dark like evil, actually evil character, where she wants to actually like inflict harm and she's really good at doing it. Maybe some more of the plant telekinesis and being able to subdue victims that way, or maybe being able to release toxic pheromones in the air that literally melt people's skin off. Something as interesting as that, but also not like a very flamboyant green costume. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so no Uma Thurman style costuming.
Yes, like
yeah, I like the way they did it with like her costume and clothing. It's literally like in the comics, it's made out of like plant life.
Yes,
it's actual living plant life, and it's a part of her body,
which is cool.
Yeah, I'm definitely down with that. I mean, I'm not. I know it's counterintuitive to the question I just asked, but for me, I would rather see. I'm more interested in seeing the way they do Ivy in Matt Reeves' universe in the Batman.
Yes.
Because we know that this next Batman movie is going to be taking place in the winter, so it's probably going to have to do with Mr. Freeze, which I'm interested in seeing how they do that. Now, if they would. Now, but I want them to stick to the detective side, because we don't really see much of the detective Batman in these days. We see the brawler Batman a lot. We see the brawler Batman a lot. We see the
Batman is supposed to be the world's greatest detective.
Exactly.
And I think that Reeves has kind of really been able to show that side of him, Batman, like working out problems that way. And
yeah, a lot of people didn't like the way they did the Riddler for in the Batman, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was really cool. It was a fresh take, and it opened the door to do more with Batman. And granted, this is also a young Batman as well. This is year 2 Batman. So when we see him in this next movie, this is going to be like possibly year 3 Batman, because in the Penguin takes place, I think it was only a few weeks after the movie. It starts off a few weeks after the movie, but by the time we get to the ending of the Penguin, snow's starting to fall.
Yes, that is very true. And by this time, I mean, the Penguin is now a kingpin, a criminal lord. So, there has been some time passed, and if we see Batman up another level, that would be interesting.
Yeah, it would make sense within the time frame, so we can have the second Batman movie build up off of, I'd say, like make it take place within like another. We could even say like a few months after the ending of the Penguin, and it is snowing out. It is winter out now, and we see Mr. Freeze, because by that time there's still parts of Gotham that are still flooded. So it's getting cold. These areas are going to freeze over. It'll be great for Mr. Freeze to kind of, take it from there. And then also maybe we can have his wife, Mrs. Free's wife, be, her illness be caused by the flood. Maybe she has like pneumonia or something like that, or something like some kind of disease that comes from being like severely wet and cold or something like that. And so he puts her in that cryostasis in order to, keep her alive while he finds a way to save her life.
Yes, that would be interesting. I think in the comics, or they both have, or Mr. Freeze and his wife both have the same chronic condition, and he needs to keep her body temperature low in order to keep her alive, whatever condition she may have. But he is able to walk around in a suit that keeps his body cold.
Yeah.
So being able to see that portrayed in like a real world scenario, not just like a comic scenario, but a real world scenario, because that's really like where we're at. That would be really interesting.
Yeah. I mean, they would have to figure out a way to make like him freezing people, make it an actual problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And actually, because technically, like Freeze never really killed anyone. He just froze them. Majority of them were always able to be thawed out and survive. But it would definitely make sense that, like, all right, it's Matt Reeves, things are darker, he's killing people. So they would, when it comes to Ivy, I can definitely see it be darker in the same way, kind of like the same way they did, the Riddler. But like the victims are all people that are a part of like big companies that have been polluting. Right. And then, now we got these murders that are taking place that involve, whether it be, like you said, their faces being melted off or like being poisoned. The poisoning thing, I can see them really rock off the poisoning kind of, like Matt, all these big CEOs are being taken out, murdered, and there's poison and, so on and so forth. And now it's up to Batman to figure out how they're being poisoned, why they're being poisoned, and then do his detective work and track down, all right, who's someone that they're, what are all these people doing that are causing them to be, being killed? Oh, okay. Now he uncovers that, all their companies are all a part of being.
Let's say they're all these companies are dumping or somehow getting rid of their own waste the same way, and it's somehow hurting the environment, which is basically Ivy's MO. So that would be cool.
They can have it as like the companies are all going through the same company to dump all their waste. So we can have like a character like Penguin. One of his side ventures to make him a little bit of money is, he's having truckers, his people, he's being paid by these big companies to dispose of and transport, their illegal waste and dumping it without having to pay the astronomical charges it is to legally dispose of their waste, right? But now this company is, Penguin, he's dumping it wherever it may be, and it's poisoning the plants and stuff like that around where she lives, and it's affected her. Or maybe they can have it as she doesn't have those plant-based powers yet. This is just the beginning. She's she can be a botanist and have her be an eco-terrorist off rip.
Have
her be eco-terrorist off rip. Have it that she they can go deeper. They can mix the storylines a little bit.
I just realized this. The Penguin's drug is mushroom. Right? That's how he makes his drug. So imagine if Ivy somehow released spores from those mushrooms, and she was able to make those spores like infect people, and now people are starting to get sick, whoever's using this drug.
Okay,
That's-
Jay, you cooking right now.
Yeah,
yeah,
imagine
man.
that.
We're cooking right now. You're on to something, Jay. Keep going.
Imagine that.
I want to piggyback off of that.
So now these thousands of people who are buying Penguin's drug on the street that he himself stole, now Ivy has been able to change it, manipulate it genetically. And now these mushrooms are all releasing spores into the user's systems, whoever's taking this drug. And maybe these spores implant into their brain, just like they do an ant's brain, and a fungus starts growing out of their skulls and they become zombies. Kind of like in
The Last of Us.
Yes, correct.
All right, you're cooking. I like that. All right, so
Or
what
just
if-
sick in general.
yeah. So what if Ivy is pissed off that Penguin's using mushrooms to, to give people these highs? So if I remember correctly, it was so Sophia. What she did with these mushrooms, she infused them and grew them with the drugs that they were giving her in Arkham.
Yeah, or that's how they got the drugs.
Yeah, that's how the mushrooms were originally grown,
Yeah.
right? Using using these drugs that had been given to her within Arkham. Now,
Yeah. And it makes you more docile. It's like a sedative. It's like a
yeah, so they said it's supposed to give you a high that's like a euphoric kind of high. You're supposed to be like extremely happy and feel good and stuff like that all the way through. So what if Ivy, she in turn uses those mushrooms, like you said, genetically alters them because she can be like a botanist. We're going with like she's an eco-terrorist off rip. So we're talking about how, I don't know if you heard any of it, Triage, while you were stepped away, but we were talking about how they would bring Ivy into Matt Reeves' universe, right?
Yes.
So we want Matt Reeves to stick with the detective side of Batman. Of course, we got he throwing hands. Of course, he throwing hands. He Batman, but
I thought honestly that they were going to go more who done it because because they announced I forget the brother's name is from Firefly, the one that because they announced that an actor is playing Clayface. So I took it as this one's going to have like more of a Death on the Nile, Knives Out sort of clue. Like, all right, these people were in the room who did it type scenario. And Batman being the quote unquote world's greatest detective. And yes, I'm making my air quotations for all those people who can't see me. He's going to be like, well, I know who did it. And in order for me to explain it, I have to walk you through the Dimension Night step by step.
Yeah. So we would like them to stick with that kind of concept going into maybe like a third movie using Ivy, right? And we were saying that like this whodunit would all be like big pharmaceutical CEOs, and they're dumping their byproduct, their waste illegally, and it's starting to affect the plants or whatever. Mind you, she's an eco-terrorist. She don't like that shit. So now these CEOs start winding up dead, either poisoned or like in a more gruesome fashion of being like Jay had mentioned, like their faces being melted off using some kind of herbal kind of acid or something like that. And so Batman's like, all right, now I got to figure out how this all fits together. What is connecting all these companies and these CEOs together? All right, boom, finds out, all right, they're all dumping illegally. Okay, we find out that it's actually they all hired a dumping company, which this so happens to be owned by ran by the Penguin to to illegally dump their sewage because they don't want to pay the fees to actually legally dump it, because those fees are fucking ridiculous.
Astronomical.
Yeah. So instead of paying for that, they just pay the lower price to Penguin, and he dumps it illegally. So now that it's dumping and it has something, it's somehow affecting the plants and shit like that, and they're dying, and so she's taking revenge for the plants by poisoning and killing these CEOs. And it's like a rapid thing, building up. Who done it? Now he has to find out. All right, now he has to hurry up before more people die. But I also like Jay's idea of the Penguin's drugs being used to kill these people.
You want to know what also make it better?
Go ahead.
If they're all subsidiaries of Wayne Corp.
Ooh.
They're all subsidiaries of Wayne Industries.
That would work, because we do see that underlying story of Alfred trying to get Bruce to pay more attention to the company and what's going on within the company. So that would also feed into that underlying storyline of, hey, like, you can't just keep doing Batman shit. You're also Bruce Wayne. You also got to do Bruce Wayne type shit too.
Yeah.
So now we see Bruce Wayne. Now we see Rob Pattinson playing both sides, because we don't really see him play Bruce Wayne in the first movie. We see him play Batman. We don't really see much of Bruce Wayne.
No, not much.
That would be a nice way to see him, Rob Pattinson, start playing that duality of Bruce Wayne and Batman. Now he has to put the suit on. Now he has to put the suit and tie on instead of the cape and cowl on, and start doing investigation on a company side. And that's how he finds out that they're all connected.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Now I just feel like we got to find like a deeper reason why Ivy is going on this vendetta against them. You know what I mean? I feel like it could be, so like maybe her father or her parents or her father was also, and he was an activist, and maybe he had worked his life and he ended up uncovering that they were dumping, and he found out that they were dumping illegally and where they were dumping. And so in turn, they either had him offed or something, they did something bad to him. And her revenge, she's getting revenge for her father by using the plants that that her and her father cultivated and grew, because now she's like, she's an activist as well. But because of what happened to her father, she ends up turning into an eco-terrorist. And now she's enacting revenge for what they did to her father. And all these companies were all complicit in him taking him out. So it could have, like, again, they could have hired a thug, could have hired Penguin's people, or even one of the families, either the Falcons or the, what was it? It was the Maronis, the Falcons, and was it? There was a third family.
What, like crime family?
Yeah, wasn't it a third family?
Medici's?
No, the Medici's was her mother's family, right? Gigantes. Yeah, they were her mother. That was her mother's family. I swear there was like Salvador Maroni, Carmine Falcone.
Oh, the Cobblepots.
Crime family wise, the Cobblepots were one of the five founding families. But either way, like, the companies, they had let's say they hired one of the families or whatever to take out her father.
Something about this screams Tommy Elliott to me. I don't know why, but
like, you know what I mean? So kind of like she starts retracing the steps. She finds a person that killed her father, he gives up, oh, I was working for this person. She goes to that person. That person's like, well, I was working for this person. And that's how she traces it all the way up to find the fact that, all right, these people are the ones who are responsible for my father's death. So now I'm going on a, revenge trip, killing each and every one of them. You know what I mean? Using the knowledge that her father gave her of plants.
Hmm.
And then, so while she's working from the bottom up, Bruce is working from the top down.
I get
You
what
see
you're
what I'm
saying.
saying?
Yeah, okay. Makes sense.
Yeah. So now it's a race against time before she, murks. And now, mind you, she's escalating. She's like, all right, you know what? And she realizes, you know what? These CEOs, they're just part of the problem. They're just part of the problem. The big problem is all these people with all this money who refuse to listen to my father. Who, my father, he went to the DA's office. He went to, these people in high powers, and they all called him crazy. They all threw him under the bus. They all ridiculed him and, threw dirt on his name and made him an outcast, and to the point where no one cared when he was wound up dead. So now she's like, I'm going to kill everybody now. Fuck just killing these CEOs of these companies that are dumping. Now I'm going to kill everybody. All these big fancy CEOs. And let's say maybe there's supposed to be like a fundraiser coming up where all these people are getting together and a lot. And so she's like, you know what? I'm going to kill them all in one foul swoop. And now it's a race against time for Bruce to find out who she is, what she's doing, and how she's going to do it. And it's a race for her to actually get everything together and put it into work before he stops her.
Yeah, that would be a really good storyline.
Yeah. So as the movie progresses, the suspense is starting to build up. And, it starts out, like I said, she's just taking out, the CEOs. And what ends up happening is maybe he stops her before she kills the last CEO of the company. And that's when she realizes, you know what? And she finds out that, they're all these guys were subsidiaries of Wayne Corp. And now she's like, I'm going to kill everyone in Wayne Corp and in Wayne Industries. And it just so happens that Wayne Industries is about to have a big gala or some shit. So now Bruce also has to be there as Bruce Wayne, but now he's like, shit, I got to be here, Bruce Wayne, but I also got to be Batman and save everyone in here.
Yes.
While also not letting off that I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
I thought it. He said it. That's funny.
Yeah. And I'm also now I'm kicking myself in the ass because I'm like, fuck, I missed that. Damn it. I missed that opportunity to do it. Damn, I'm jealous now that you had that opportunity.
It's okay. You'll have more.
But no, I think that would make for an amazing movie. We get to see the detective aspect. We get to continue seeing the detective aspect of Batman, while also getting to see Rob Pattinson build that duality of Bruce Wayne and Batman, and him having to juggle both sides of the life. Because right now, from what we've seen, he's only doing the Batman shit.
I kind of, in the first films, in the first Dark Knight series, I kind of liked how they had Bruce Wayne literally leave for 7 years to literally master his body. And
yeah,
I think that maybe not that exact scenario, but if they showed in Reeves' universe, if they showed him leaving or somehow just training somehow, so we actually get some sort of background on the possibilities of what he knows or what he would become to know.
Yeah, because they didn't really touch on that much in the first movie, like, because this is, like I said, this is year 2. What we see is year 2 of him being Batman.
Yeah.
So, but I did like what they did in the Nolan series of when he did come back, he was more focused on being Batman than he was on being Bruce Wayne. And when it came to him being Bruce Wayne, he was just partying. He wasn't doing any of the business side of things. Clearly
he wanted to portray that Bruce was just like a sleazer.
Yeah, that he wasn't anyone important, so that people just like wrote him off as, another celeb, big, trust fund baby that really didn't have anything going for him, so nobody really paid him no mind, kind of thing. And I kind of feel like that's what they're going for with this, but in a different direction. Instead of him like balling out on the Wayne money, they're having him just be like, fuck the Wayne money. Bruce Wayne's not here. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't know. I think that a movie like that would be really, really good. Be very, very suspenseful, because I don't know, the formula that they had for the first movie when it came to the Riddler, I felt like it worked. I felt like it portrayed a good Batman. Because we know we see him get handsy. We see him fucking beat the absolute dog shit out of people in that first movie.
Yes. And like you said before, a lot of people did not kind of like the way they portrayed the Riddler, but if you honestly really think about it, in a real world scenario, that makes complete sense.
Yeah.
That portrayal of the Riddler. And so them portraying a real world Poison Ivy, I think in the Arkham Knight game, her portrayal, she literally is covered with like tattoos and rose thorns and like all through her legs and body, and these I don't remember correctly, but she's able to summon different like enzymes or pheromones through these tattoos, and something interesting like that would be cool.
Yeah. But now again, like I said, if we're going real world, she wouldn't be doing any of that. But I mean, we can have her get that like maybe later on, maybe in the final battle.
But once again, it also depends on what are we talking, because Bruce Wayne, if she worked for a high level company or something that was cutting edge or on the cutting edge of pheromones, or they were experimenting with something, because Lord knows there's some guy in a coat, government funding, doing some shit and got no business doing right the fuck now. So I mean, it's not that far fetched as far as the quote unquote grounds of reality. It's like, what will they do that's acceptable and what's not? What will be received and what won't? Because like I said, if they focus on her being more of a sex symbol and more opposed to like storytelling to the point where she's actually like a legitimate menace, like look at Bane's portrayal in Batman and Robin versus Bane's portrayal in The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, completely different.
A lot of people don't like Tom Hardy's portrayal of Bane. I loved it because you got the fact that this dude was a menace and he was extremely dangerous.
Yeah. Honestly, I agree too. Only thing I didn't like was his physical appearance. I wasn't really rocking with, but I felt like they kind of nailed the concept of the character. And I feel like as long as they nail the concept of the character, I don't really care too much on how they rock physical appearance. And that's why with the Riddler looked very different from what we normally see him. He's very whimsical and this and that. No. They said, fuck that shit. We're going with the concept of the Riddler. And if I feel like if they stick with the concept of these characters while having their physical appearance and stuff like grounded in reality, but I like that idea, Triage. And so instead of her having her father be some kind of activist that found out that that these companies were dumping, have him actually have been a worker, have him have been an actual scientist working for Wayne Industries, and then or one of these subsidiary companies or whatever, and he was like working, and have him have worked in like botany and stuff like that, trying to use using plants to like for medicine and shit like that to enhance their pharmaceutical kind of company and shit like that. And that's how he ends up stumbling across the wrongdoings of all these companies and shit like that. But in turn, they end up firing him. Pretty much just kind of the same story that they did with Freeze in Batman animated series. He worked for Wayne Industries. They said, "Hey, your funding's cut. Fuck your wife. You use your our technology to try to heal your wife. Your wife's now our property," type shit. You know what I mean? And with that kind of ideology, like he worked for the company, he tried to call out their bullshit. They didn't like it. They fired him, discredited him. He lost all his grant funding, lost all this like blah 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 blah, and it tore their family apart, made her father go crazy or whatever, and or have him end up taking his own life instead of having like a them take him out. Have him end up taking his own life, and now she blames the companies for driving him to do it. And now she's getting revenge using the technology that he created. And that would draw that direct parallel to her Wayne Industries and her wanting to take out everyone in Wayne Industries, which forces Bruce to now have to take a more firm footing within Wayne Industries in order to investigate.
That would be interesting.
I think that would be really good on both fronts. So how would you have them do it, Triage? If they were in Matt Reeves' world, to bring Poison Ivy to life in Matt Reeves' universe?
I would think that because of all the water damage that was done, that there is something going on with whether or not sustaining certain plant life, certain things that have gone wrong as far as the ecosystem, because the Gotham City would basically be thrown out of balance thrown out of balance because of everything that's happened.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, once again, because you have all this excess water, because part of the city's literally underwater. We all know that plants need water to survive.
But so if you overwater a plant,
it dies.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I think that the premise is there for her to come to action and like be a straight menace. But it's like I'm more concerned at how they're going to do it, because the action will still have to be on point, and it's while physically Ivy's not necessarily throwing hands. I'm not quite sure how having her square off, especially solo against Batman, how that would work. Unless she like used like her pheromones to put people like in her thrall, or had like a whole army of dedicated followers, or like, but I don't know. We saw that with the Riddler already, so I don't know how that's gonna work.
Well, again, Ivy was always solo dolo, and she was always using her plants to pretty much attack. Her plants were her followers in her group. So, but it is a thing within Gotham City that all these people that end up coming to power or whatever like that, they all end up having their cronies or their henchmen. Henchmen are a very big thing within Batman. So it would make sense. Like I said, she's an eco-terrorist. right? Because of all this, mind you, like, let's say all this happens before the flood. Like her father, all that shit happened before the flood, right? And because of the shit that happened with her father, instead of growing up to be an activist like her father and working to use pharmaceuticals for healing purposes, now she's gone down the road of eco-terrorists using that same technology her father tried to use to heal. Now she's using that technology to hurt. And now she's seeing the flood and like I said, the imbalance of Gotham now with the flooding, and now, politicians trying to pull funds this way, that way, everyone's out of balance. Now she uses this as her moment to get revenge for her father taking his life due to what the companies did to them and her family. Discrediting them, taking his funding. Now he had no way to provide for his family. They said that he was a crackpot, this and that. Pretty much took all his certifications away, shit like that, blah, 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 blah. And they ran him into the ground because he found out that they were dumping illegally, which was harming the plant life. And again, he's an activist. He's not going to go for that shit. So he calls them out on their bullshit. They don't listen, or at least they know and don't want to listen. So they end up having him written off as, a crackpot, or they try to blame it on him. They frame him for doing all the shit. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And now now she's become, years later, she's grown into an eco-terrorist. Or we're going to need something to kickstart her into doing all this. Maybe they're refusing to. Maybe the government and these big industries and big wigs are refusing to help out where she is. Let's say where she originally lived or whatever is underwater, or the water has, become so bad where she is that like now the plants there can't thrive. And her being eco-terrorist, she's like, nah, fuck that. That's not right. You need to do something about this. And they're refusing to do something about it. And she's like, hold on. Now, y'all done did all this shit to my father. You didn't listen to him. Now he took his life. Now we're in this whole, my family was in this whole bad situation. He ends up taking his life. And she ends up blaming them for everything that's happened to her. And now you're refusing to, fix this water damage. Because remember, that was also a big thing that Penguin was working on too, because the area that he grew up in had no power. This is that, blah, blah, blah. This is so and so and so forth. And he pushed to get the power turned on there. And now she's like, oh, whoa, hold on. You push power over here to this area and help this area out, but not mine? Oh, no, fuck that. Bump that shit. Everybody, and we need a trigger event. Something to trigger her to jump into action. Like he's been doing this eco-terrorism shit for a while now, but now something's triggered her now to escalate further to the point where now she's using these toxins and these poisons to kill these CEOs and these politicians and shit like that she feels are responsible for everything that happened to her and responsible for what's currently happening to her.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the act of her and Batman, Batman trying to stop her or whatever, she ends up being mutated by something like kind of the Red Hood kind of idea of the origin of Joker. Batman tries to stop him from air quote robbing a bank or robbing Acme or whatever, and he falls into the vat. You know what I mean? I just think it would be really cool for them to have everything kind of connected. All right, Penguin in the show makes the politician turn the lights on in that side of the area. Right now, that pisses her off because they're not taking care of her side of the area. There's her where she is in Gotham.
The scene in the Batman, I think it's an extra scene, but I'm not 100% sure if it's canon. The scene where Batman goes back to Arkham and he speaks to the Joker for help with the Riddler, for advice on a riddle.
Mm.
And if they somehow create a scenario where, say, Batman needs to go back to see the Joker for like more advice over something, say over one of the issues happening now because like of what you just described, and because of this somehow the Joker is able to escape, and also the Joker, is Batman's arch enemy. So maybe in the final film that he makes, it's going to be the Joker as Batman's ultimate enemy.
Yeah, because we don't get to see that the face off between them or what landed Joker in Arkham in the first place.
No.
We don't get to see that, so it'll be interesting. We get flashbacks of their first battle that they had or whatever. That'll be interesting. I don't know. I just feel like Matt Reeves has done a good job by placing everything in a realistic way. At least thus far. I'll say thus far with the last two works that he did with the Batman and the Penguin. We have yet to see what they're going to do with this next film. You said there was rumors that they've cast someone to play Clayface. So that's going to be interesting as well. So maybe they're not even going to go with. Maybe they might not even be going with Mr. Freeze. Maybe they're going to go with Clayface and whodunit murders using Clayface, because I like the way they did it in the Cape Crusader on Amazon. The way they portrayed that whole Clayface storyline in that. I thought that was great. I enjoyed that heavily. That was actually one of my favorite episodes.
Doesn't Clayface, isn't he able to have like clay people? Like, isn't he somehow able to create like people, but they're made of clay and they fight?
Yeah, that's in like the iteration of Clayface that's more like mutagen style. He's more of a mutant than anything. And he's able to control his clay separately from his own body.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but in the comic books, Clayface is an actor, and that's where the Cape Crusader went closer to the comic book story for Clayface. He's an actor, and he's ugly, and he starts going to this experimental plastic surgeon, essentially, that and eventually ends up allowing him to manipulate his face and change his face to look however he wants it to look.
That's right.
Yeah. So
that's why I was saying I took it as like more of like a whodunit type scenario.
Yeah, that would be really cool. That would be really cool.
That would be interesting. That would be cool.
Yeah. I guess if I was to do an Ivy film within Matt Reeves style, it would be more. It definitely would be more of a suspense based than a whodunit. I mean, clearly it's going to be a whodunit on the side of like he has to track this person down to figure out who's killing these people, why they're killing these people, and what their next step is, and who they're going to kill next.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be more of a detective film. The way I'm looking at it, but no, that would be really cool. On a whodunit wise, or shit, that'll be. I wouldn't like that. I just had an idea, but I'm like, I wouldn't like that. If they did it as a way that like we don't see Batman in the film at all, it's just Bruce Wayne, and he's stuck in a scenario where he can't put on the cape and cowl, and now he has to solve this mystery as Bruce Wayne without people figuring out that he's Batman. You know what I'm saying? in that whodunit style, like, you know, Orient Express, Death on the Nile, A Haunting in Venice style, you know, the Detective Poirot style, and I love murder mystery. Murder mysteries. That's what they're called, murder mysteries.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then with Clayface style, you know, the person that, you know, Clayface is the one that did the murder. Oh, actually, that's actually how they did it in Cape Crusader. Clayface, air quote, dies, but it was actually somebody else, and he used, you know, the plastic surgeon, technology on somebody else's body to make it look like him.
Yeah. That would be cool. That would be cool to see.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I would like that. That sounds really fun. I would like it, but honestly, more so, yeah, I want to see Poison Ivy brought to life in Matt Reeves style. I don't care for it for this gun universe. I feel like this gun universe is gonna end up doing it in, you know, in a goofy ass way. Because I have either of you guys watched Creature Commandos yet?
No.
I haven't either. I've been kind of like steering clear of it. I have the opportunity to watch it, but I've just been really steering clear of it. So I don't know. I'm interested to see what they're gonna do. But let's take a quick break, real quick. Let's hear from our friends in the podcast universe and the Blurred universe again, and we'll be right back with our final remarks.
Going on, everybody, Lloyd Jones with Midnight Comics here, and we'd like to introduce you guys to our show, The Indie Breakdown, a show where we break down your favorite indie comic book characters' power, stats, and abilities, and get them ready for an eventual indie versus matchup. All Indie Breakdown episodes go live first on Spotify and on Patreon, with them eventually showing up on YouTube. So if you guys want to check out The Indie Breakdown and learn more from your favorite indie comic book creators, now's the time to do so. We hope you guys decide to tune in, and remember, until next time, midnight is coming.
Hi, I go by Lady Mandalore, the creator of Room Full of Blurs. Do you have a whiteboard in your room? Do people get a glazed over look in their eye when you start to explain things to them? Well, come join me every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we can talk comics and get to know some new creators of color, only on YouTube and Twitch.
What's going on, everybody? It's me, Calvin, from the Icarus Podcast, and I just want to say that we got new episodes coming next Saturday and every Saturday after that. So all I will have to say from here is keep enjoying the show. You can check us out, www.icarusmetrocomics.com. Check us out on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and more. See y'all next time.
Join the Pulse. We're excited to announce the launch of Heartline Comics' newest line, the Barcode Collection. Our fresh drop just hit the internet and is turning heads. Imagine this. You're rocking our merch, and friends can scan the barcodes to instantly connect with the Heartline Comics website. It's a game changer. Stay ahead of the curve and never miss a beat. Subscribe to our website for exclusive alerts on the latest merch drops and the newest comics hitting the shelves. Be part of the Heartline community and show off your style with pride. Trust us, you don't want to miss this.
All right, and we're back. Wow, I came in kind of loud on that one. My bad. And we're back. So, Poison Ivy. What are your thoughts on her as a character, Triage?
Said overall as a character?
Yeah.
I think Ivy is intelligent. I think she's an extremist. I think that she is the definition of good intentions. And I think that she's also very, very sexual without being Excuse me. I think she's very sensual without being super sexual. Because that's one thing we didn't talk about, actually, because Ivy is constantly seen as flirting with men or wooing men or putting men under her thrall. But Ivy actually hasn't been involved with anyone since her rebirth, so to speak.
That's true.
And it was stated by her, it was stated to her by Harley Quinn. She was like, Red, you're very protective of me, and I appreciate that. But sometimes I think that you care a little bit more for me than what you want to admit. Could it be that you actually like me?
I remember that. I remember that moment.
Yeah.
Because if you're aware of what's going on in more modern iterations of their relationship, they painted them as a couple.
That's highly interesting.
That's interesting as well. Like, clearly we haven't seen a Harley within this Matt Reeves universe, and I'm sticking to Matt Reeves because right now that's my Batman right now. That's the person that's the Batman I consider like Batman. Just because I feel like it's been done. It's the most current, well done version of Batman. That's not like fucking overpowered and fucking outlandish and shit like that. I would be interested to see the way they would portray that relationship between them. You know what I mean? I would really, really like that. Would like to see that, and not even on just me being a man in that aspect. Just how they would write that dialogue and portray that relationship. Because that would make sense, in the story that I'm thinking in my mind, Ivy has become isolated from people and humans because she feels like humans have, done so much wrong to her and her family that she don't really fuck with nobody no more. And then lo and behold, sorry for taking your tagline there, Triage. You haven't really said that in a while. No, yeah, lo and behold was your shit. But this kooky, cracked out, weird, wild, antic, jokey, half cartoon, half human, lady essentially falls into her backyard, and now she's like, the fuck am I supposed to do with this? And by interacting with Harley, she ends up finding maybe people really aren't that bad, or at least this person isn't that bad. You know what I mean? And the Grinch's heart grew 3 times that day, kind of thing. That'll be really interesting. I don't know. I would really like that. Like on a serious trip, I would really be interested in seeing how that relationship like unfolds in like a more realistic, kind of in a realistic world. Which I would nothing about the relationship within the comic books or animation is out of pocket or like outlandish. It's all very real, very, very real. And looking and reading their relationship and shit like that, we all can make connections to thoughts and feelings that we felt in real life, for a person or for somebody that's like, it's like, damn, this person is a good person underneath all the scars and the bandages, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it was that kind of like the area of what you were trying to go at with their relationship.
Yes, and I think it's also one of those things like where, because of Harley's more destructive impulses, versus Pam's more grounded, reality goal-based beliefs. I think they're also a very big balance for one another.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I feel like Harley's relationship with Ivy, whether you look at, in the comic books or animation, has given Harley a lot of character development. You know what I mean? To the point where, like, in the comics, in one of the comics, I believe I touched on it like a while back. I don't think we ever did a Harley show.
I don't believe so, no.
Yeah, I don't think we ever did a show like specifically on Harley, but there's a storyline where she becomes a Green Lantern, but on top of becoming a Green Lantern, she also becomes a Red Lantern as well. And she ends up wielding both the green and red and becomes a fucking absolute unstoppable force. Regular Harley, at most, would be a Red Lantern. That's what I'm saying. Like at maybe not at most, maybe at minimum, would be a Red Lantern. Or what's sadness or whatever? Or actually, because of her love-lost relationship with Joker, she would be what's the color for love or lust?
The color for love?
Yeah, no, the lanterns, the pink. Yeah. Maybe that lantern. But like, I feel like because of her relationship with Pam, she's able, it has changed her state of mind or her way of thinking, and has honestly thoroughly changed her character, because now we've seen her actually become part of the Bat family in certain runs, especially in the Injustice run. She's a part of the Bat family. Now, if you look at the character when she is with Joker, when she first comes along, you wouldn't expect that at all. But all these changes comes after her relationship with Ivy. So I feel like, her relationship with Ivy has created a lot of character growth for Harley, which is really interesting, because again, she's supposed to be a psychomaniac, crazy loon, and incapable of these thoughts and these feelings and stuff like that. But that balance that I feel like Ivy gave her, and it's like, hey, no, you're not Joker's girl. You are Harley Quinn. You're you first. You're a person.
If you look at the Suicide Squad, Harley's red and black jacket that she wears in the first movie says "property of the Joker," and she also has that tattoo on her body. Now, if you watch the Suicide Squad with Idris Elba, when Harley's in that red dress, you'll see that same tattoo on her shoulder blade, but now it says "property of no one."
Yep.
So, if anything, like, her relationship with Ivy has been very liberating towards her character and towards her idea of what it means to love someone is.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. Absolutely. So I'm interested in that. I'm waiting to see, her, Harley being brought into either one of these worlds in one of these universes properly, not this whole Joker 2 thing, a little more properly than what they've recently done.
Hot take.
No, I feel, go ahead throw the hot take, go ahead.
I didn't hate the Joker 2.
I haven't watched it yet. I've been kind of staying away from it.
Listen, I did not hate it. I think it's one of those things because it was a musical, and the way they were focused on the dynamic of their relationship was not the traditional way it developed and what was going on. Like it wasn't the two of them singing while riding around the city trying to set it on fire. So it's like, and I think that's where it lost people because it wasn't a Bonnie and Clyde, you know, Bride of Chucky fucking.
I also feel the other side of that too is it like the entire vibe from the first film is completely it's changed. You know, when you think about sequels, you think that all right, you know, the second movie is going to carry over that same energy from the first one. The first one had just like pure anarchist kind of energy to it. Just burn it down. They don't care about us, so fuck it. Why would we care about them?
I wouldn't say it was that way from the start. I say it became that.
Yeah, it became that. Yeah,
because
yeah. Go ahead.
Like you said, it's one of those things like where you get told your entire life, right? Never meet your heroes because your heroes are regular people. Jesse James got shot in the back by Robert Ford. Robert Ford admired him. He respected him. He wanted to be him. But when he met Jesse James and realized Jesse was just a man, he wasn't impressed. Jesse was retiring. He was walking away from the life. So it's like Robert Ford felt if he couldn't be famous for riding with Jesse James, he'd be famous in another way. So I think that was a similar dynamic of that movie. Everyone was expecting to have that grand ride with the Joker and then realizing that he's just a man. Like, you know what I mean? This is not the adventure you think it is. Like, you know what I mean? You got that peek behind the curtain. I think people didn't care for that.
Yeah. Oh, that's a very, very, very good point. I think about that. Yeah. Essentially, it just wasn't what people were expecting it to be.
No.
But honestly, and we see that a lot. You know, we'll have a movie that would be really good, but end up doing really bad and get a lot of bad criticism because it's not what the fans were expecting and or not what the fans wanted. We've seen that plenty of times. You know, good movies get bad raps because the fans are just like, it's not what I wanted, and it's not what I expected. And honestly, that was me for a while until I was like, you know what? Let me not. Now every time like a superhero movie comes out, I go into it with zero expectations. I dead my expectation, and I just try to look at the movie for what it is. You know, not what it's connected to, not what the source material is. You know, I do that after. You know, I do it after. But I'll give it a try. I'll give it a look. But I would like to see Harley brought in the right way because one, Harley is an amazing character. She's an amazing character. But also because, you know, since we're talking about Poison Ivy, because I want to see that connection between her and Ivy in live action and how someone would write that, because Ivy has a very, 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 very big impact on Harley. And Ivy in general, like I said, she turns from straight villain and she herself becomes more of an anti-hero. You know, we see her on, you know, multiple occasions. We see her on multiple occasions, you know, help Batman or assist Batman in situations. I believe she does that in one of the Arkham games as well. And she assists Batman. So I'm interested in seeing that because like the character herself has so much growth and she changes, you know, much like plants do. They grow and they change.
Yep.
So I'm interested to see that. Before we round off here, Jay, what is your overall thoughts and take on Poison Ivy?
Honestly, I just like the entire idea of the character. Because you would think it's like a classic idea, but it's not really. and it's just something cool to see, like this character, this character can do and portray.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with that. From her powers and abilities to her, her thoughts and ideology, to what she, her impact on other characters that she has, her drive, the reason why she does what she does, and she lives the way she lives, and she uses her powers the way she uses them.
Exactly.
It speaks it speaks volumes to, honestly, and like I said, connection to, like I said, like to real world as well. She brings about thoughts that we in the real world really need to be thinking about, how we treat the world around us.
Mm,
You know what I mean? How we treat nature.
very true.
And I believe I talked about this in while we were going through Avatar April last year, when we were talking about earthbending and stuff like that, and having a balance and a respect for Mother Nature, because as we see, shit, look what Mother Nature's doing to Cali. Look what she's done to all these places that have been flooded. Look what she's done to fucking from Mount Vesuvius to look at the situation with Pompeii, volcanoes erupting, earthquakes, tsunamis, wildfires, tornadoes, hurricanes, flash floods, fucking all these natural disasters. That's Mother Nature, and we've been seeing a rise in these disasters. You know what I mean? And many have correlated this to our impact on the world at large, to nature itself, to the pollution of the oceans, the death of the coral reefs, the melting of the polar ice caps, all these things. People have drawn dots, have connected the dots, and to the hole in the ozone layer. You know what I mean? Hell, even the junk that we have floating out in space.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
All this plays a part. And like I said, I my take on my thoughts on Ivy overall is that she is like a cautionary tale in a way.
That's
and
good.
I'll say that to bring it around to the conversation of Godzilla that we're going to be having in a few weeks. That's what Godzilla started out as, a cautionary tale of the nuclear experiments that they were doing, and that's what created Godzilla, and that's what the whole Godzilla was created. The character Godzilla was created to do was created by in Japan to tell the tale of what these nuclear experiments could create and could do. You know what I mean? We're doing all this shit, and we end up creating a monster that destroys us.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say Ivy is definitely a cautionary tale. Respect Mother Nature, love the world around us, because without we only, as of right now, we only got one planet Earth. As of right now. I say now because who's to say that we don't end up finding some other shit, years and years and years away. You know what I mean? But yeah, we only got one Mother Earth. We got to take care of her. And I feel like Ivy has a Malcolm X take of, I'm going to protect this world, Mother Nature, by any means necessary. Any means necessary. So I respect that, and I love that about the character. Yeah, no, this has been a great episode. It's been really fun. It's been more. Honestly, this is more of a deeper, more serious episode than I thought it was going to be. I thought we were going to be absolute fucking goons out here on this episode. I thought we were going to be going stupid this episode, but it ended up turning into like a more deeper episode than I expected, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. But no, thank everyone for watching. This has been the Super Breakdown. Please definitely tune in next week where the famous Jet Jackson?
I've actually been having trouble trying to find it to watch it.
Right? Okay, so I'm not the only one. I can't find it anywhere. It's not on Disney Plus at all.
Huh.
Yep, not on Disney Plus at all. I've checked all my streaming services. I'm only other thing I can do, and I'll do this right now just to double check, just to see. Because I don't even think it's on this, because I have a specific website where I watch, a lot of my movies. Let's see. The famous Jet. That's spelled with 2 T's.
It was.
Oh, I got the movie. The 2001 famous Jet Jackson movie.
Yes.
But I do not see the series. I'll send you guys the link to the movie. But yeah, it's so weird. So we might end up having to change that, which sucks because I was actually really interested in rewatching that, because that's like a staple of my childhood right there.
Right.
Let me see.
Yeah.
What's this? I think. Okay. Let me check the validity of this real quick. I found season 1 on YouTube. All 13 episodes of season 1 on YouTube. Yeah. I will send you guys the link to that right now, so we can watch through that. But if we end up finding that it's too difficult, I'm definitely down for switching it up, or we can jump to Up and Away, because Up and Away is on Disney Plus, and we all can check that out and watch that. Yeah, I've definitely found season 1, but I don't see season 2, and I believe it went for 3 seasons, right?
I believe so. 3 or 4.
Yeah, 3. Yeah, 3 or 4. Let's see. I found a playlist that has it. Somebody has it all on the playlist.
Huh.
Playlists. 13. No, damn. Nope, they do not have it. They do not have anything else besides that, just the first season of the famous Jet Jackson. So we'll figure out if maybe we want to do something different than the famous Jet Jackson. We can jump to Up and Away, or we can just do something completely different next week that falls in line with the famous Jet Jackson. Oh, quick thing. So which completely threw me off, and I feel like there's a bit of a Mandela effect.
Oh Lord.
I thought Lee Thomas Young had, passed away a while ago.
He did,
but not as recent as it is. I didn't think it was as recent as, what was it, 2013?
Yeah, it's been at least a decade.
Yeah, but I thought it was further back to that. I thought it was after Smallville, and I didn't realize the time frame of that.
Well, yeah, you got to remember Smallville ran from 2001 to 2011. So that's not that far after Smallville.
Yeah, but I had also forgot he had his own show after that where he played a detective.
Mm-hmm.
I completely forgot about that as well. And so that completely threw me off. Well, damn, what was it? He was also on Scrubs in 2000, from 2001 to 2010, I believe.
Never watched Scrubs.
Yeah, it's pretty damn funny. I'm not gonna hold you. It's actually pretty damn funny.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
But yeah, no, that shit just threw me completely off because I'm like, whoa, 2013. Whoa, that was way more recent than I had expected. I'm trying to remember the name of the show. No, not that one. Yeah, he had his own show. He played damn, what was it? I can't remember. But or was he in, or did he play a detective on somebody else's show? It wasn't like his show. Oh, he was a detective on Rizzoli and Isles. He was an actor on Rizzoli and Isles. It was like, I believe it was like a shit. What station did this come on? I think it TNT. Yes, he played in the show on TNT. So that threw me off. But all right, we'll work on that. We'll figure it out. But again, after that, up and away. Then after that, Godzilla. And then what do you want to do after that?
Siler. I want to go over Siler from Heroes.
Damn, I gotta rewatch Heroes too. Shit.
I want to go over Samuel Sullivan from Heroes. Let's see.
Want to just go over Heroes? So we can touch on them all.
Not because I don't want to. Because some people are very skillful, but certain characters I want to go over absolutely.
All right. Well, we can do an Heroes-esque, and we can go over all three of those characters in one episode. We can like go over, like, be an episode about specific characters from Heroes. Just god damn it, Heroes had so much potential, and then they fucked it up with that second series.
That writer strike, that fucking writer strike.
Yep. But no, we will definitely go over it. We'll definitely stay tuned. We got a lot more coming up. A lot more coming up for you guys. This is going to be awesome. But yeah, and again, we are working on getting some interviews out there. I'm working on that. We just gotta, figure out some contracts, some legal stuff, and we are moving into the next phase of the Super Breakdown. So please, everyone, stay tuned. We love y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. And as always, remember, fuck prep time.
Fuck prep time.
Fuck prep time.
All right. Peace.